Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday, if it's still Sunday for you. Oh yeah, Pinky, nice, dude. I'm glad, dude. What's up, buddy? See you guys. We got the news, obviously, Matt, for today, March 12th, and then we'll have another day of some chill warframeage. Now, getting that warframing going. So we'll do that. Probably not go quite as long as we have the past couple of days. We're gonna do a little bit of family stuff today. Chill out with the wife and kids for a little bit this afternoon. So we won't go quite as hard as we have here lately, but we'll get a nice lengthy day of streaming in. Anyways, so it'll be good. Good to see you guys. Hope everything's going well. Hope you've had a good weekend so far. And I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Yeah. Actually, my son started playing Bloodstained last night. Yeah, my son started playing Bloodstained last night. Yeah, he got to Zangetsu and he was like, he was having a time, dude, with Zangetsu. So I kind of showed him a little bit of what I figured out about him and let him handle it from there, you know. Yeah, he's definitely my kid, dude. He'll come hang out sometimes. Since I've been playing Warframe, he'll come sit here and watch me play Warframe sometimes next to the PC, you know. He likes it, dude. He likes the same kind of games I do. It's funny, man. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, let's get into this new stuff, man. This is what we're listening to this morning, by the way. Crypt of the Necro Dancer vibes. Rhythm-based adventure RPG. Good stuff. Go check it out if that's your kind of genre. Also, very, very extensive soundtracks that come along with buying the OST. I know for sure on Steam. So you don't just get the base OST. You get all kinds of remix tracks, and there's about 5 other versions of the soundtrack that come along with it. So, you know, go check it out. It's good stuff. There you go, dude. I love how everybody's been getting these new achievements and stuff they're showing off. It's fun. Everybody's like, "What is this, dude?" I've been here forever. I've never seen these. I think it's like a new thing. That's funny. We'll kill that music, dude. Let's get off in here. See what we got. Okay, dude. Like, what even is this? Oh, I'm not special. You are special, Doc. You are special. You're special to me, brother. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's kill that stuff real quick. So we talked about this a lot here recently, and we talked a lot about it yesterday. I'm not going to bring this article up, but here's the deal. It's this article says it's time for the age of always online single player games to end. I think that people need to look at this critically because this is not just single player games. These are games that are both single player and have online multiplayer aspects to them, or entirely, you know, that you can use your single player character to also go in and play in an online multiplayer environment. Quite often, they're like games that involve grinding for different kinds of loot and stuff like that. And I think what they're really trying to prevent in this case, from the developer standpoint, is people injecting like created items or things like that into the game that wouldn't be able to be monitored if the game was not an entirely online piece of software. So, meaning that if people were playing the game in single player, it didn't have to be connected to the internet. They could find ways to go in and hack the game, create items, and then inject them and bring them into an online environment, a multiplayer environment, which isn't good. And to just eliminate the possibility of that all the way around, they maintain these types of titles, or they require these types of titles to have an always online presence, right? And so, in regards to that, that makes sense to me. Now, for a game that is just only a single player campaign type of title, there's no reason for it to be online. There's not. And I agree. That needs to stop. But they're showing a picture here of Redfall. And Redfall falls into the former of the conversation in which I was just talking about, in which, yes, it has a single player mode which you can play, but it also has a large amount of the content that revolves around multiplayer, right? So the same thing with Suicide Squad that's coming out, and they're getting criticism about having to have an online presence to play the game, but it's the same thing. Yeah, you can play solo, but a big part of it is the multiplayer environment that they've incorporated for that game. They want people playing together, and therefore they're trying to prevent and incorporate measures that would prevent people from being able to quite as easily, anyways, inject certain types of things into the game that can't be monitored while the game would potentially be down. So they just make it be online all the time. So, I mean, to that extent, I get it. But for a game that is only single player, only no multiplayer at all, no need for online, they're just doing it to, I don't know, I guess try and incorporate some kind of like anti-piracy stuff or whatever. It doesn't really work anyways. Let's be realistic about this. That stuff doesn't really work. Pirates always find ways around it. So, and we're talking about DRM basically is what that is, right? So that stuff really does need to knock it off. And if you're looking for a platform that does a really good job at not requiring DRM, not requiring you to have an online presence to play the game, as long as you've already downloaded it and installed it, you need to go check out, for PC anyways, you need to go check out Good Old Games, GOG. That is a platform owned by CD Projekt Red, and that's one of the big things that they promote about their platform is that if you own a game, you've downloaded it, and you've installed it, and it doesn't have a requirement for online or whatever, it's just a single player title or what have you, then you don't need to connect to their servers to play that game. Like so many other platforms do nowadays, right? Let's see here. PlayStation Store sale makes PS2 classics $3. Let's go. Souls-like dev accused of reusing From Software animations. Dude, I think I know what this game is. I was wondering how this was going to do, too. Interesting. All right. Oh, AMD's first official 7800 X3D gaming benchmark. Okay. I didn't mean to pull that up twice, but let's see. Cool. Gaming console and a stick to feature dual Raspberry Pi setup. Interesting. Let's take a look at that. What is this? Yeah, I don't think that's a surprise. Yeah, there's already a lot of Silent Hill stuff coming. We know that, and the fact that there could be even more, I don't think that's a big surprise to people. I'm not going to dive into that. And that's also speculation, but I'd be surprised if there weren't in the future. There's such a big request for it, you know. Steam makes one of the best games of all time, $2. Let's take a look. Dungeons and Dragons Cell makes two classic games. What? $4? Okay. PS4 and PS5 players can soon play controversial game. Last of Us multiplayer spinoff could come to PS4 as well. We'll take a quick peek at that. Is EA actually good again? EA has never been like EA has always had their strong points, and most of the time it's in single player titles. Funny enough, they've done a pretty solid job over the years at creating some single player titles, you know, but they suck on a lot of their other fronts, you know, as a company. So, yeah, are they good again? No, no. They just do. I mean, they're still doing what they've always done. They create some quality content here and there on the single player campaign front, and then a lot of the other stuff is crap. You know, whether you want to talk about like multiplayer games that are terrible states on release, or their monetization mechanics that they incorporate in so many of their titles that just feel real scummy. You know, EA is going to EA, right? Multiple games were reduced by 90% on Xbox. What? This week. Okay. 7th through the 14th. Bro, wait. This came up yesterday at 9 a.m. How are we? What? Okay, we'll see. There's a couple days left, anyways, for people to get some deals, maybe. Switch leak reveals PlayStation exclusive port. Let's see what that is. Get over to our other search real quick. Yeah, Stadia is done. We knew that. We've talked about it a lot leading up to that. PS5 controller battery life. I'm not going to dive into this. I don't know what the battery life is on a default DualSense controller, just a standard DualSense controller, and I don't know how that compares to like a standard current gen like Xbox controller. I don't know where they stack up against one another. I will say this: it feels a bit ridiculous that their new Elite controller they came out with for the DualSense, the PlayStation Elite controller or whatever, has a worse battery life than their default controller. So you're gonna go pay what is it, like 250 bucks, something like that, for an Elite controller that doesn't even have as long of a battery life as their standard controller. So what? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know how. I don't know how you get through the process of developing a product that's supposed to be elite, an elite version. Oh, Ghost, the PS4 controller gives you 8 hours. Yeah, but the PS5 one is one I'm talking about. Yeah, so but that's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, 8 hours on the PS4. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I would have to look it up. for the PS5 controllers, but I do know for a fact that their Elite controller, which you're going to pay about 100 and probably about 130 to 150, probably more around 150 more dollars for something like that US. For their Elite controller, does not have as good of a battery in it as their default standard DualSense PS5 controller, which is asinine. I don't know how you get through the development process of something that's supposed to be worth, if it costs that much more, it it shows that it's supposed to be that much better, right, than the standard version, but the battery's not even as good. I don't get it. I don't understand. That's a pretty solid amount of gameplay though. 8 hours right there, Ghost, out of a PS4 controller. It's pretty solid. I don't. I mean, like, like I've got Xbox core controllers, but I don't use battery packs in them. I always use my controllers plugged in. Always eliminate any chance for latency and wireless connections. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't use wireless headsets. I don't use wireless mice. I have everything plugged in. So I don't know. How are you today, buddy? What's up, Ghost? Happy Sunday, dude. For reals? Is this a PS2 title? Duck, I'm sorry, bro. People that are saying this kind of stuff after seeing the Lord of the Rings Gollum trailer must not remember exactly what PS2 titles looked like. Oh, hey, thanks, dude. Yeah, yeah, it's good to see you, buddy. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad you're doing well, man. Great, great. I'm sorry, dude. If you watch the trailer of Gollum, I mean, does it look like something built on UE5? You know what I mean? Like really well done? No, I would agree. It's a little bit, you know, it's not the greatest graphical fidelity experience I've ever seen for sure. But if you're gonna, I mean, they've got to be trolling. There's no way it looks like a PS2 title. I'm sorry. Starfield, yeah, we know Starfield's releasing on what is it, September 6th or 7th. And then there's going to be a dedicated showcase right around the same time. So Bethesda's going to be doing a dedicated showcase on June 11th, right? Oh, oh, hey, dude, don't worry about that. Yeah, no. Don't even trip, dude. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Nobody needs to apologize about anything like that. Just being here and you know, enjoying the content. That's why I do what I do, man. Nobody needs to feel committed to um needing to engage in chat or anything like that if they're not comfortable with it or whatever. I mean, I do this because I'm passionate about it, and I want like-minded people to be able to have somewhere to come to feel safe and enjoy the same kind of stuff. People that enjoy what I enjoy. That's what this is about. So you should never need to feel like you need to apologize about that. But I appreciate those sentiments, dude. I really do, and I'm glad that you enjoy what we're doing here, man. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Um, so we know when Starfield's releasing. We know that there's going to be a dedicated showcase. So we got like 3 months till dedicated showcase. That's also when all the summer showcase stuff's popping off, right? And we'll watch a lot of it. So if E3 happens, E3 will take place then, which E3 hasn't happened in like 4 years. Well, this the past 3 years it hasn't happened, right? But if it does happen, there will be some publishers and developers back at that, like Ubisoft. We know Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation are all going to be doing their own thing. They're not going to be part of E3 anymore. They've already announced that, but they'll be having showcases around that time. And we know that there's going to be a dedicated Starfield showcase at that time too. So it's like the entire second week of June is just a mass summer like slam of announcements and showcases from publishers and developers. And it's usually a pretty cool like week to a week and a half for all of us that are big fans of the gaming industry to just like get more information on the games we know are coming, and then get like some cool new announcements and everything too. You know, a lot of times it's maybe some stuff that we've heard, some like water cooler talk about, but nothing official, and we'll get some official news on stuff, and then sometimes, you know, or most of the time, we'll also get some just announcements that we didn't really know anything about either. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming in about 3 months, and the lead up to that, within the next 3 months, we'll be getting more news about what we'll probably see in a lot of those showcases, right? But Starfield will have its own dedicated showcase then, so we'll get to see a lot more at that point. And then 3 months after is supposed to be its release date. So we'll see what happens, right? Starfield gameplay confirms 2 more immersive features. We'll take a quick peek at this and see what they're talking about there. Where remastered Chrono Cross due to preservation what? Preservation fears. Interesting. Okay. See what that's about. Yeah, we've already got that up. These Game News 24 articles are so tough to read. They're just very, very badly translated, I think. Like, I mean, you can tell from the titles. PS4 and PS4 Game Pass. What future is the Xbox game? I feel like I should read it like a robot, you know? PS4 and PS4 Game Pass. What future is the Xbox game? A bunch of 2 RTX 3090 and SLI compared with 1 RTX. It's so hard to read those articles. They don't get translated very well. So I just don't really dive into them anymore. Let's stick with what we've got here, man, and we'll see what we've got for the articles we have. Let's dive in here. Everyone should just start using GPT to write articles, dude. That's where it's gonna get. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna have jobs anymore. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna have jobs anymore. AI is gonna take everything, dude. AI is going to take everything. It can literally like create videos that look just like real people, and like I mean, it's of those particular real people too. Um, it's in the we're getting into a weird spot, dude, with the AI stuff. I mean, the Matrix is coming, dude. The Matrix is coming if we're not already actually in it, you know. But if we are in it, dude, I might just want to stay there. I'm not sure I want to see what's on the outside of it. I'm not sure, man. Yeah. Wow, my CPU is getting a little bit funky this morning. Um, looks like so Nintendo Switch leak reveals PlayStation exclusive port. Looks like Switch Lite. Yeah, so just Switch console owners will be able to play a PlayStation console exclusive. It's fairly common for Nintendo Switch users to miss out on a game at its launch. Eventually, get it via a post-release port, unless it's a game straight from PlayStation or Xbox or a big AAA game. This is very technically demanding. There's a good chance it's going to end up ported to Switch, and if it's a smaller indie release, it's almost a foregone conclusion. It's going to be available on Switch at some point, which brings us to today's leak. The Entertainment Software Rating Board, the organization responsible for rating games for release in North America, has rated Solar Ash for Switch, which is not only leaked that the game is coming to Switch, but that it's coming to the Switch soon. So far, none of the implicated parties have commented on the leak, but it seems safe to assume that an official announcement is imminent. As for the game, Solar Ash is the sophomore effort from the developer Heart Machine, which made a name for itself in its freshman effort, Hyper Light Drifter. Yes, a title that was received well by critics and sold millions of copies. Unfortunately for Heart Machine and publisher Annapurna Interactive, Solar Ash did not review as well, nor did it sell as well when it was released on December 2nd of 2021 for PC, PS4, and PS5. From the creators of the award-winning Hyper Light Drifter comes the high-speed and gravity-bending world of Solar Ash, reads an official blurb about the game. Set amidst a surreal dreamscape filled with long abandoned ruins of great civilizations past, you play as Ray, a void runner determined to stop at nothing to save her planet from falling prey to the Ultra Void's path of eternal hunger. This is Solar Ash.
Continue down this path, and you will suffer, like me. Your every move intensifies.
It's pretty.
Your blind ambition.
So was Hyper Light Drifter, though. Hyper Light Drifter was very cool graphic style, very good animation and everything. That's pretty dope. It's like some Shadows of the Colossus vibes right there almost.
You can't save anyone. Not even yourself.
Okay. You're coming to Switch, huh? You can see that's the original trailer. As always, take everything here with a grain of salt, as this is just a leak. There's little room for doubt, but unofficial is unofficial. In the meantime, for more coverage on all things Nintendo, yeah, they've got a link there. But usually if there's a rating that comes out for a game, that means it's coming to that platform. So there's no official date, but usually if a rating's hit for a platform, for a title for a specific platform, that means it's going to hit in the near future. So we'll keep our eyes open. If anybody needs anything out of that link, it's here in chat. Starfield gameplay confirms 2 more immersive features. Starfield fans were quick to spot this week a number of different features from the latest gameplay snippets sewn off during Bethesda's release date announcement. Those features range from a more detailed look at the UI setup, as well as this game's looting system, among other highlights. 2 of the more lauded features people spotted are ones that will be big for those who crave immersion. It also just happens that both of these features deal with the helmets players will wear in Starfield as they explore different planets and fight enemies that call for specific gear to suit different situations. The first of those features is one that everyone who spends any degree of time in a character selection screen will be happy about, and that's the fact that you can remove your character's helmet at times when presumably still benefiting from the stats it grants. Being able to take off a hood or a helmet at certain times is something RPG players often look for, since they spend so much time crafting a character the way they want them to look and want to be able to actually see that person from a third-person perspective instead of the character being obscured by clothing, for sure. Yeah, we already watched this. There's not a whole lot in this announcement trailer. I'll link it for you guys if you haven't seen it yet. You can take a look at it. We've seen it already. Around 220, the 2-minute and 22-second point in the video above, it's hard to make out, but there's some blurry text at the bottom of the screen which appears to say hide helmet in breathable areas. That alone is a win for immersion in 2 ways. That is pretty cool. You can take off your helmet in safer areas so that you don't look like an oddball wearing your helmet 24/7 compared to how others are dressed. And the game still forces your helmet to be on if you're in an unsafe area that calls for extra protection. Yes, but do they give you the ability to take off your mask in breathable areas and then take off your helmet in breathable areas and then put on a mask, right? Because that's what we need. The other helmet-related feature is less noticeable but still important. In the same menu where the hide helmet feature was confirmed, we see in the top right corner that each helmet boasts different stats. That's a given when it comes to any piece of gear, but the helmet stat we see here indicates that there are all sorts of different effects players will need to protect themselves against. Physical damage resistance, energy damage resistance, along with EM stat are shown, but beneath them, and seemingly separate from those stats, are more numbers which sure look like they correlate to an environmental or elemental resistances. Thermal, corrosive, airborne, radiation are the 4 stats shown. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Very cool. If you're wondering why that's a big deal, it ties into the planetary exploration that Starfield boasts, a feature which players have long had questions about. What kinds of planets can we visit? How different will they be? Are some planets totally inhospitable? These stats don't answer all of those questions, but hey, excuse me, I think that is supposed to be... Bro, they put the T that's supposed to be with they on butt, and so instead it's butt like somebody's butt, and then hey instead of but they. Dude, where's that chat GPT, Pinky? You know what I'm saying? These stats don't answer all those questions, but hey. But hey. But they do confirm that players will require specific gear to tackle different situations as opposed to having a one-size-fits-all helmet appropriate for any atmosphere. That's a lot to say about just helmets, but considering how scarce Starfield news has been, it's no wonder players have gone digging for scraps like this. Game will be out September 6th, yep, with a Starfield showcase coming before that in June. I think they said June 11th. However, so it won't be long. So like 3 months till we get the showcase. We'll find out a lot more. But just if all of this has been, this is some stuff that's really been picked out about just helmets. That's a very good indication about how deep this game is potentially going to be in regards to all the equipment in the game potentially, right? All the equipment in the game potentially, and not just that, but if you think about the premise of what the game is, like they were talking about in this article, with how much exploration you need to do with different kinds of planets, and some planets being maybe totally inhospitable to life at all, or maybe very, very, very inhospitable, but not totally, meaning that you might have to boast some significant resistances to certain elements before you'll be able to actually go explore certain planets, right? So that could be something that as deep as the sponginess of your enemies, right, dude? Yeah. So if you think about it that way, with all these planets they're boasting that you're going to need to explore and everything, you would hope and expect that there's going to be some obstacles in the way of not being able to explore some of them because of needing to get big resistance buildups to certain kinds of environmental factors and things like that, right? And this might be a good indicator for what some of that's going to entail in the game. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Ghost. I mean, this is Bethesda too, right? So Bethesda's notorious for buggy games, right? So, I think the thing, at least that I mean, there are a lot of people that love Bethesda. Bethesda's made a lot of good games in the past. Bethesda's also made some mistakes in the past. And for me, I'm anticipating this game in the hopes that we see Bethesda get back more to the roots of things, of being able to bring something back to the table that gets them in the good graces of us as gamers, right? So, well, I think we all are expecting to see some pretty buggy things in the game because it is Bethesda. But this is like you said, this is a reach of a game. The amount of what they're trying to incorporate here, theoretically, in what they're telling us they're bringing to the table is massive, right? So, any kind of development in this kind of capacity is bound to have some things going to have to be worked out. Compounding that is the fact that, yes, this is a Bethesda game, right? So I think everybody expects this to have some issues. And so I always want a game to release in a good state. I always want a game to be real nice and pretty polished on release. I don't expect the game to be perfect ever, but we'll see how it goes. And the hope here is that, like, they delayed the game. They put a pretty good delay on it. And hopefully them doing that was so that when they release it, it will come to us in a pretty solid state. But we'll see, There are a lot of people hyped about this. A lot of people love Bethesda. And they've made a lot of good titles in the past, but they've also, I think there are a good amount of people that have gotten kind of jaded by some of the more recent Bethesda products. And this will be a good look at who Bethesda is currently. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's coming. It's coming. Before we know it, man, the showcase will be here for sure. 3 months, man. I'll link this if you guys want to watch again, in the cinematic here for the announcement of the release date. There's not much. There's not much to see there, really. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's in chat. So take a look. Square Enix remastered Chrono Cross due to preservation fears. Square has commented in a recent video on why they decided that Chrono Cross should be remastered. The announcement of the remaster of the classic RPG was initially meant to commemorate the game's 20th anniversary. However, the remaster's producer, Koichiro Sakamoto, has now publicly stated that there was more to it than that. Sakamoto has said that they were depending on the Game Archive service for their classic RPGs on PlayStation 3 console, but at the time the PS4 became available to purchase, and they weren't sure whether the console would continue with the Game Archive service. So to stay on the safe side, they decided that they would create a remaster project. Here was their quote. Back when the project was launched, Chrono Cross was possibly going to become unplayable. There was a Game Archive service on PS3 that allowed you to play PS1 games, but PS4 was already on the market. We didn't know at the time if PS4 would also have a Game Archive service. It looked like Chrono Cross could become unplayable, so a remaster project was set up. That's the backstory. Good on them, dude. Right on. Rather than lose the game's accessibility, they decided to just, potentially, they just decided to go ahead and remaster it and be like, let's make sure that everybody will still have access to this game. Cool. Good on them. Interesting. PS4 and PS5 players can soon play a controversial game. So both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 players can soon play a sequel to one of the most controversial and worst games ever made. There are a lot of games still coming to PlayStation consoles between now and the end of the month, such as Resident Evil 4, Chia, Major League Baseball The Show 23, and System Shock. This list isn't exhaustive, of course, and now it's grown by another game. PS4 and PS5 players are set to get Postal 4 No Regrets before Switch, Xbox One, Series S, and X users. According to developer Running with Scissors, the game is the long-awaited true sequel to Postal 2, one of the most infamous and controversial games ever made. Fourth installment in the series isn't as controversial as its successor, partially because the environment in which it's releasing in isn't as sensitive to over-the-top violence, but also because it's not garnered the same attention. What it did garner was similarly terrible reviews. Released last year, the game was the lowest rated game of the year with a score of 30 on Metacritic. Gross.
Crossed the line of family ties and crushed my innocence. You told your lies, your brother died, and still you think of it. It's such a shame, it's not your fault, it's the devil who it pays to. Not to blame, but can't ignore what you said about the angel who saved you. Erase the hate that still runs through my veins. Erase your very name, no forgiveness. Now you crawl back to me. You can ask but won't receive my forgiveness. No forgiveness.
Okay.
プレイステーション
If you're interested in playing Postal 4 on the PS4 or PS5, you can do so come March 24th. Price point has not been divulged, so it presumably costs the same as it does on PC. $40? $1 and some change for every point it has on Metacritic. $40 for a game that has... Yo, Wick, what's up? A game that has a 30 rating on Metacritic, dude. Yikes. I mean, if you need more out of that, here you go. that's a little bit... That's interesting. Last of Us multiplayer spinoff may come to PS4. Happy Sunday, buddy. What's up, dude? The upcoming multiplayer spinoff of The Last of Us may be coming to PS4. Despite the Xbox One and PS4 being nearly a decade old and the newer generation of consoles being almost 3 years old, the industry has yet to fully move on. Probably. The industry has yet to fully move on from the last generation of hardware. Major games like God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty, and even some upcoming 2023 games have supported PS4 and Xbox One, despite being super graphically intensive games that have a lot going on under the hood. Part of the reason for this is that there has been a shortage on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S for the last few years. It is only just now starting to clear up. However, it does sound like there are some games that are ways off that still plan to support the PS4. A Naughty Dog job listing for an associate multiplayer QA tester developer role asks for candidates to have a working knowledge of PS4 and PS5 systems. While PS5 makes sense, it is surprising they want people to have an understanding of PS4, as many probably assumed that this game that we have yet to even see any gameplay of would just be a PS5 game. Well, there's a chance that's still the case, and this is just a very general job description. It wouldn't be totally surprising if the game was to come to PS4 too. Console still has a massive user base, and this multiplayer spin-off of The Last of Us started as a mode that would have been included in The Last of Us Part 2, which released on PS4. The bones of this game may very well exist on PS4, but even if that was the case, Naughty Dog could have certainly just moved on to the PS5 exclusively if they wanted to. Either way, we're expecting to hear more about this project later this year, so we'll have some more clarity in the coming months. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's we're in that mode right now for the consoles, right? Yeah, you're probably right, Wick. Yeah. We're in that mode where in the life cycle, the cyclical life cycles that consoles go through, the previous gen consoles are starting to not really get as much love in the software development anymore, right? Developers are starting to move away from both developing titles for previous gen and new gen consoles anymore. We're seeing a lot of that now. And I'm within the next couple of years, 2.5 years probably, we'll have like the new PlayStation and the new Xbox console. And you know, at that point, the software will, you know, be made. I would say within the next year, you're not going to see a whole lot of software being made moving forward for PS4. It'll just solely be focused on PS5. And then for, you know, the next couple of years after that, it'll just be PS5 until, or PS5 and Xbox X and S until the next gen consoles release. And then we'll be back into this cycle of software being released for both previous, you know, at that point, what will be new gen consoles and, you know, previous gen. And it just, that's the way it works, man. That's just part of it. But we'll see if the Last of Us multiplayer does end up coming to PS4 or not. This is just a lot of, you know, a lot of talk. Nothing official here. Deals. Multiple games are reduced by 90% on Xbox this week. So this was actually happening from the 7th through the 14th. So you got a couple of days left here. But looking for some cheap Xbox games in this week's Xbox sales. There are a bunch of games that have been reduced by 89% as part of the latest batch of discounts, including one that's actually 95% off. You can see them right here. They got a list. There's like Adam's Venture, AER, Assault on Metaltron, Beast Quest, Dragon Ball Xenoverse is $4. EA Family Bundle, Gravel Special Edition, Malaka, My Hero One's Justice, In Valor Verstand, Naruto to Boruto, One Piece World Seeker, One Piece Burning Blood, Ride 2, Scribblenauts Showdown, Serial Cleaner, The Long Journey Home, Tawaga, Among Shadows, and Woopo. All of these are like 90% off. Woopo's 95. Then they've got games reduced by 85%, 80%. The 80%'s got some like our Resident Evil stuff, Civilization, Street Fighter, Evil Within, Vermintide 2's in there, BioShock Collection, Alien Isolation. They got some nice titles up in here, man. So Borderlands 3 is 85% off. Dragon Ball Fighter Z, 85% off. Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, 85% off. Cannot recommend that game enough, dude. Tekken 7, Soul Calibur 6. There's a lot of games that are on sale right now. So if you're looking for some Xbox games on Xbox on sale, man, you might be able to grab some nice ones right there. It's in chat. Steam makes one of the best games of all time, $2. A new Steam game sale has made one of the best games of all time just $2, courtesy of a 90% discount. In the current economy, $2 doesn't buy you much. It's hardly enough money to buy a candy bar, let alone a video game. Video games are expensive. It's rare for a notable game to be discounted to pocket change. Right now, one of the greatest puzzle platformers ever made, Inside, is available for exactly this. Yeah, Inside is a great game. Yep. Here, take a look. Think like dark, ominous kind of vibes, platformer, similar to like Little Nightmares, if you know what that is. Wick, you working today, dude? Or are you playing Warframe with us? game is highly rated. 90% off deal for Inside is only available to March 16th. After this period of time, it will revert back to its normal price point, which is $20. It does regularly go on sale. Never seen it cheaper on Steam or any other platform for that matter. It has been given away for free, though, before. On Epic, I think. Meanwhile, for those curious, the game does support Mac, and because it's not very technically demanding, most PCs, even budget and older ones, should have minimal problems running this minimalist game. If you're not convinced, even when the barrier to entry is only $2, the game does have a free demo, but this is only going to offer a small slice of what is itself a pretty short game. Yeah, coming in at about 3 to 4 hours long. So, only going to be about 3 to 4 hours worth of gameplay, but for $2, it's supposed to be a pretty great experience. So, worth some consideration there to pick that up and give it a shot if you're interested, okay? Dungeons & Dragons Cell makes 2 classic games at just $4. What game? Inside, Doug. Wait, what game? What? You talking about the one that I was just talking about, or are you talking about what game are you going to go home and play with Pinky and I? And probably Tinwin and whoever else, maybe the worst. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. That was one of those games that I told you about during, like, Scaretober, right? That and Limbo. Same developer. Didn't you buy that bundle? You got the bundle on sale, dude. I'm pretty sure you got that bundle on sale, man. Didn't you? Because it always goes on sale during October. You're scrolling. Stop it. I didn't make you buy it. Yeah, you bought the bundle. Did you get it on sale? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, here, check it out. So on Steam, the developers made 2 games. Inside is the more notable one, but they're both supposed to be very good. You can see right here. Inside, right? So this is Play Dead, right? And there's a bundle where you can get Inside and Limbo together. And right now it's for like 69 more cents, Kappa. 69 more cents. You can actually get Limbo as well as Inside. So yeah, a little bit cheaper there. Wick. Did you play them? Did you even play them yet? Did you play them? And you can see it's like overwhelmingly positive. These Inside's very well reviewed. So if you're interested, you know, then the deal ends in roughly 4 days. But not gonna get like super extensive gameplay out of these. But for, you know, under $3 for 2 different games that are fairly highly rated and regarded games. Don't play games anymore. I mean, didn't you? I mean, when you bought them, though, you were still playing games. And don't tell me that, dude. You've been playing Gordon Ramsay Simulator. You know what I mean? So don't tell me you haven't been playing games, dude. You just haven't been streaming. You've been playing Age of Empires 2, and you've been playing the Gordon Ramsay Simulator, dude. Don't lie to me. Dungeons & Dragons players get a rare deal this week with 2 different Dungeons & Dragons video games marked down significantly to the point that both games are being sold for $4. Not $4 each. Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition and Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition are being sold for $3.99 total, meaning you get both games for far, far less than what they normally go for. It's a double pack discount of 90% off, and it's live now, but given that it's part of a flash sale, the deal isn't going to last much longer. It's on Fanatical, so these will be for Steam keys. Only for PC. Again, Steam keys, yeah. These are old school CRPGs. These are CRPGs in the same light of something like Baldur's Gate, games of that nature, okay? If you know what Pillars of Eternity is, Divinity Original Sin, these are old games that kind of really set the tone for that genre of CRPGs, right? All right. I can't bring up Fanatical right now. Their site's being kind of boo-boo. Being boo-boo for me. But there's the link right there in chat for you guys that need it. So sorry, guys. But you might be able to get there yourselves through that link at some point. But those two games are old school CRPGs. And if you dig old school top-down RPGs like that, then probably worth taking a dive into those, especially at that price point. $4 for both of those. Those are notable old school RPGs, man. Like Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition, 90% positive, and then dude, what was the other one that's part of it? Why am I tripping? What was the other one? Neverwinter Nights. Yeah, my bad. Neverwinter Nights. Same thing. 88% positive. These are well-known, well-regarded, traditional classic CRPGs, Yeah. Gaming console on a stick to feature dual Raspberry Pi chips. The Pimoroni DV stick will plug into an HDMI port, support two RP2040 chips. Interesting. The Pimoroni makes a slew of exciting screens, boards, and kits based on Raspberry Pi's Pico controller or the RP2040 chip that powers it. The Sheffield-based electronics company next big project, a gaming console with the stick-like form factor of a Chromecast, two different RP2040 chips, and the ability to boot directly into the Python REPL command line. Pimoroni founders John Williamson and Paul Beach disclosed the upcoming product, which they said will likely be named the DV or Digital Video Stick, on this past week's episode of the Tom's Hardware Piecast, our weekly show about all things Raspberry Pi. This stick product, this HDMI thing, is the most fun thing we've got going on at the moment. The stick will have built-in HDMI port, allows it to plug directly into a TV or monitor, along with a USB port that you can use to connect a wired peripheral. But it will also have Bluetooth connectivity so you can pair a wireless controller or keyboard with it. Interesting. If you use it as a gaming console, the DV stick will be able to play the same games that run on Pimoroni's Pico system handheld. Launched in 2021, the Pico system already has a few community-made games for it, but also provides tools so you can develop your own in C++, MicroPython, or Circuit Python. The Pico system uses a single RP2040 for processing and outputs to a 240 by 240 1.54-inch display. Pimoroni has not specified a maximum resolution for the DV stick, but since it is designed to connect to a TV, we would expect it to reach at least 1080p. Company has also said that people could use the DV stick for more informational displays. For example, if you wanted to put a schedule on a screen where everyone could see it, you could write a simple program using the company's Pico Graphics MicroPython library and attach the device to a display. Dude, Raspberry Pis have been used for that kind of thing for a long time. My phone out here acting like it was made by EA this morning. Is it telling you to swipe your credit card for more info? The dual RP2040 chips on the DV stick will allow it to have one CPU that does the software processing, another that just drives the display. Each of the chips has its own PS RAM chip, which means that there will be more memory than the 264K that comes standard with the RP2040 chips Raspberry Pi Picos. I think so. Driving the HDMI display with just one RP2040 processor would leave you without a ton of application performance, Williams noted, but because the video encoding takes so many CPU cycles. No definitive release date or pricing for the DV stick yet, which may be called something else when it launches. Product is working on a breadboard. There's no functioning prototype yet, so we don't have any photos of it in the article. However, Williamson and Beach said that the product should be ready within a few weeks whenever it comes out. They're hoping that makers will find new and exciting ways to use it. Oh, I'm sure they will, yeah. And a pretty simple little piece of hardware to get some gaming stuff done on there. So we'll see what happens with this potentially. If you're interested, look, I tout Raspberry Pis all the time as a nice little high-powered microcomputer for anybody that's interested in getting into learning more about technology and computers and things like that. Messing around with Raspberry Pis, and I'm not talking about the food as much as I wish I was, because you know how much I love food. But Raspberry Pis like this, spelled like this, right, are a great way at a low price point for people to get in and make some really, really cool like emulators and old school applications. You can build retro arcade cabinets out of them. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do in the gaming world with Raspberry Pi. So look into it. Pretty cool stuff. You gonna mess around with a Dutch apple pie, dog? What? Did like a Dutch apple pie smoothie, bro? Huh? Swipe credit card, get new version of the same thing. So get the same thing that's just called a new version, right? That's what you mean. Get the same thing that's just labeled as a new version. That's what you meant, right? Yeah. PlayStation Store sale makes PS2 Classics $3. A new PlayStation Store sale on PSN has made a few PS2 Classics as cheap as $3. Typically, when PS2 Classics go on sale via the PS Store, the price points are somewhere between $5 and $8, and that's the price point for most of them. But there are 3 games that are extra cheap right now. For $3 US, PlayStation fans can download Psychonauts, a 2005 platformer from the now Xbox-owned studio Double Fine Productions. Widely considered one of the greatest games of this era of gaming. Joining it at price points of $3.74 are Red Faction and Red Faction 2. First-person shooters from Saints Row developer Volition and from 2001 and 2002, respectively. Both of those games are also considered cult classics in their own rights. They've got some trailers, gameplay videos, and some descriptions of the games here if you're interested in any of these PS2 classics, okay? There you go, guys. Souls-like dev accused of reusing From Software's animations, man. Bleak Faith, this just released. I was wondering how this was going to do. Let's pull it up real quick, and then we'll read this article. I had this wish listed, and I hadn't looked at it yet. It just dropped on March 10th. So right now it's at 62% positive, which is not fantastic. Yeah, see what people are saying. So this is, check out the trailer first. This is what Bleak Faith is, okay? It looks very interesting. And how about some audio? There you go. Obviously, like Soulsborne-esque type of game, right? It's always a bit scary whenever another company tries to come in, another developer tries to come in and emulate what From Software has done so well for such a long time. That's a high standard to live up to. Well, I mean, that's what a lot of people love these games for that. You know what I mean, Ghost? And, I mean, that's something we talk about a lot. It's a difficult thing, you know? It's a difficult thing to address in the gaming industry. Because there are a lot of people that don't care to play games on a very, very tough difficulty. They still want to experience the game for what it has to offer. And this has been a subject that has been brought, you know, to the forefront of the gaming industry a lot by the From Software games, right? Because there's no difficulty setting. You get what you get. You cannot change anything about, you know, what the From Software games are, like all the Soulsborne games and the Elden Ring stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it is what it is. They're not going to hold your hand. Now, what they do is, you know, I mean, they have incorporated things where you can like bring other people into the games and help you out and stuff like that. Which I guess in a way makes things easier sometimes, depending on who you get to come in there and help you with stuff. But there are an amount of people that don't care to play games on a very hard difficulty. They just want the experience. They just want to have a chill time, play through the game, not be super contested in it, and just experience what the world has to offer. And I respect that very much. I do. I'm not one of those people necessarily. Most of the time, you know, I love the immersion, but I love very difficult games too. So I see both sides of it. But for a lot of the developers, it's what they talk about whenever they don't incorporate any kind of difficulty setting is that this is their artwork, right? They develop these games on purpose in this way because they don't feel like, for what they want the game to be, they don't feel like incorporating a difficulty setting. They feel like incorporating a difficulty setting changes what the game was always meant to be. And I understand that from their point of view too. So it's a very hard thing for the entire industry to kind of tackle, as gamers themselves, from that point of view, and from the creative side of things from the developer. You know, it's tough. It really is. That's cool, man. I haven't seen any of it yet, but I've been watching this for a while. I've had this on my wish list for a long time. Let's see what they're saying about this in this article. Souls-like dev accused of reusing From Software animations. After the similarities were pointed out, Bleak Faith's devs explained they used animations from an asset store. Oh my God, it is the same exact thing. Bleak Faith Forsaken is a recently released Souls-like from indie developer Archangel that resembled a cyber goth take on the From Software formula. How close it is to From Software games, particularly Elden Ring, has become a point of contention, as since its release on March 10th, players have begun pointing out just how familiar some of its animations are. For instance, there's a comparison of Bleak Faith's Claymore attacks with those of Elden Ring's Uchigatana and Straight Sword. Then here's a compilation of more animation similarities, including a character who seems to have some of Melania's moves, and another who apparently has those of an Abyss Watcher from Dark Souls 3. Oh, no way. Wow, dude. Good old Co. Rip Bleak Faith, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I would have to say the same thing, gamer. Yeah. While plenty of games have used animations that took inspiration from elsewhere, as with Genshin Impact's widely noted similarities to Nier Automata, these do seem to be in a different category. Rather than resembling, right? They look like they've been extracted directly from them using DS Anim Studio program beloved by modders and then tweaked slightly. Yeah. Yo, Miss Bat, what's up? What's up, my friend? On both Discord, happy Sunday, gamer. On both Discord and the game Steam forum, Archangel Studios addressed the accusations and claimed that some of Bleak Faith's animations are assets purchased from the Epic Marketplace, and linking to the profile of an Unreal Engine asset seller named Persia Ninja. One of the assets sold there, labeled PN Axe Animations, closely resembles the moveset of Bloodborne's Hunter Axe. Quote, the marketplace was used to fill in generic art and was still edited to fit in the general needs of the art direction, a developer named Roya said on Steam, estimating that about 10% of the total game art is from there. On Archangel's Discord, another developer going by Uber Minch42 said that the only other things from the Epic Marketplace that I use is for generic VFX that was a waste of time to make, since I'd make things that looked virtually the same anyway. Things that are so generic, like some rocks that didn't require artistic direction, that didn't do much to make the compliments die down. And later today, they added, I've submitted a ticket raising the concerns of the community to the Epic customer service and outlining the animation accusations. We decided to be preemptive as a sign of good faith and a generally very pleased customer, the Epic Marketplace. We'll let you know what they say about it, and we'll respond accordingly. Quote, at a second point, we're not judges or versed in what is and isn't allowed or who owns the rights to any of these animations. This is why we reached out to get some confirmation about the person who makes these animations. At the same time, a separate issue was raised on Twitter where it was pointed out that Bleak Faith's perk illustrations are AI-generated art and have the distinctively bland look that comes with it. The developers replied there as well, saying they would replace the art. We hear you about it, they wrote. We are working on new icons currently. It was somewhat of an oversight, but also a decision that came from an honest place. We valued the feedback, however, and we'll have redone perk icons up today. Yikers, dude. Okay. Look, man, I'm not a game dev, right? So I don't know how common this is, but imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? And we know that games do this a lot. Games imitate one another, but how common is it for a developer to just go out and purchase assets instead of just creating assets in-house? You know what I mean? That seems a bit sketchy. Seems like you're setting yourself up for a real bad situation already there. You know? I don't know. Again, I've never been involved in actual, game development. I've never been on the inside of that. So I don't know, how common or uncommon that would necessarily be. But at the very least, I would assume that if you're purchasing those kinds of assets, you would be taking them and altering them to an extent to make them somewhat different instead of just grabbing them and just throwing them in and going, oh, yeah, this seems cool. Well, and that's what so I think that's what they're trying to get to, right? Because I think the issue is they didn't even necessarily know maybe that these were animations pulled from Elden Ring or Bloodborne and things like that, right? Well, animation is art, dog. Right? Animation is art too. So if that's the way you want to get down to it, anything that's been generated for a title, especially, I mean, you want to start talking about getting into the fine details of stuff, then I talk about this a lot, right? So art comes in many different forms. And there are a lot of different pieces of art that come together in video games, whether you're talking about sound effects, music, writing, you know, acting and voice acting that's being put into games, the actual graphic design, the animation stuff. I mean, all the way around. The coding is even an art form. You know what I mean? So, walking is walking, jumping. Well, yeah, but I mean, that's not what we're talking about, though, right, Ghost? I mean, we're talking about actual. I mean, look at this. This is what we're talking about. These are identical movesets that have been pulled from Elden Ring. So if From Software has an issue with it, yes. And if you think they're not going to have an issue with it, I would be really surprised. Right? So, yeah. Yeah. Because it's not just Elden Ring. Like we said, there's other attacks from other From Software games too. Well, yeah, I mean, so I think so. This is the thing, Ghost. This is what they're talking about. So we all know emulation from video game to video game. Games always take things that other video games do well, and they copy that, right? They copy that, but they do it in a way that isn't exact. That is the important thing. You can't do it the exact same way, and you absolutely cannot go and just steal assets from other pieces of software that you don't own. That is copyrighted material. That is copyrighted material that you do not own, right? And if it's blatantly obvious, you're setting yourself up to get sued, especially by a big company like From Software. Yeah? So what would need to happen is like, you know, the weapon here needs to be like held in a different angle, or you know what I mean? Like the spin needs to be the other way around, or you know what I mean? This is identical. This is an asset that has been taken from a piece of software that is not theirs, right? It's obviously it's the same exact animation that was taken out of another game, and that's all that's From Software has to do is go to take this to some kind of court process and go, they stole our assets. They stole our animations for their game that they're making money off of, and they're going to get wrecked, right? So you're right, Ghost. Yeah, I mean, it's a common way to swing a two-handed sword for sure. I mean, you put that in a realistic, like life setting, right? You give two people the same sword, it's going to be swung in kind of the same way, right? But that's why if you're going to be doing something like this and emulating what somebody else has done well, it's important to change certain things of it to make it your own, so you can't be sued for a direct copy violation, right? So that's all I'm getting at. Games copy each other all the time because there's always somebody that's doing something very well that is received very well by consumers in the gaming industry. Therefore, it's going to be copied, right? The important thing is that the developers that are copying these elements, these mechanics or what have you within their own titles, they have to make it not exact because you're going to get wrecked by whoever developed it in the first place, right? And this is blatant. Just copying, basically taking assets out of From Software's animations and pulling them straight into their title, which is very, very, very risky. So that's the difference in it. We'll see what happens. It's very interesting. I mean, that's a bold move, man. It's a very bold move to be like a you know, and I'm guessing that they didn't actually know exactly, you know, and that's kind of bad on their part too for not, you know, doing a bit more research and trying to figure out, make sure that there weren't going to be these kinds of issues.
Right, that one was on me.
You know, yeah, absolutely, Miss Bat. Yeah, Wick's fault for sure. But that's one of the risks you're going to play as well, right? So, as a developer, if you have decided to reach outside of your own in-house development for certain kinds of assets, you're running the risk of it being a potential copy of something. Yeah. And if you're not doing significant homework and research on making sure that whatever you're pulling from outside of in-house to ensure that it isn't, you know, some kind of copy, you know, I mean, ultimately the best thing they could have done was just made sure that anything they were pulling from outside was changed to some extent to ensure that it wasn't exactly implemented the way they received it from whoever they bought it off of, right? That's the best thing they could have done. Best way to protect yourself is just to develop everything in-house, not looking off of anything and copying off of anything else necessarily, and just using in-house creative minds to develop assets. But again, I mean, that's not always the most efficient way to get things done, probably. And I'm guessing this thing happens from time to time, but there's ways they probably should have been a little bit more careful about implementing this kind of thing. We'll see what happens here. I'm guessing From Software is already aware, and they're like taking measures here, I would assume. Well, and that's what I'm saying. They probably had no way of knowing exactly, and that's why I was saying that at the very, you know, their first thing they should have done was probably take any assets that they bought that weren't created. Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? I don't know that they'll be able to go after the people they bought it off of. You know, at the very least, that's why what I was getting at, Pinky, was any assets to ensure that you're not getting yourself in any kind of dangerous situation. You should be taking those animations that you buy, because you can't be sure, right? And it's not going to be an easy thing to research. So you should be taking those animations, breaking them down in-house after you bring them in, and find some way to alter them a little bit to make them your own, to avoid such a situation, right? That's the best way to protect yourself. Instead of taking anything that anybody gives you that you might not know where it came from and just implementing it straight into your piece of software, right? Because we see what's happening. I mean, that's, in my mind, the best thing they could have done was take these assets that came from outside that they purchased or whatever, opened them up, took a look at what the animation was, and gone, okay, let's alter this to make it not exactly the way we received it. That way, it's a little bit different, just to avoid any kind of potential issues that could come up from it being in any other kind of piece of software or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. I've never seen them anywhere else. I mean, yeah, and again, yo, Mr. Raven. Yeah, okay, man, cool. Okay. I'll shut you out, Doug. Here's my big deal. I don't let people self promote, man, because I shout out my friendos and stuff like that all the time. I don't like to set a precedent of allowing anybody to come in and just self promote and stuff. No, you're good, dude. You're good. I appreciate you, brother. That's it. It's like it's just one of those things where trying to make sure that this doesn't become a community where people feel like they can just jump in here that I'm not aware, like I'm not familiar with, people that I don't know, and they're just like jumping in here and like throwing out self-promote stuff all the time. I don't want this becoming like a spammy community and stuff like that. That's all it is. So you're good. You're good, buddy. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. You guys should go check out Mr. Raven's channel for sure. Throw a follow. Show some of that love. So well, I mean, yeah, it would probably be more difficult protecting software design and game mechanics and stuff. It would be more of a trudge through any kind of process. But here's the thing. It would be different if it was just a single iteration of it happening in this title, right? But it's not. Apparently there are numerous. Yeah. So I think that's where it's going to probably end up biting them in the butt. You know, it's probably going to end up catching up to them when you have a situation where the software has come out and it's not just like one move from one boss that's like, oh, dude, that looks just like that's definitely copied out of Elden Ring. We're talking about numerous moves, numerous animations that are obviously directly copied out of From Software games, right? That's where I think this is really going to lean heavily into From Software's favor if they decide to pursue action against this developer. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ghost. I do. You know, but look, software as a whole is copyright material, right? It's owned. So everything within is owned. And I agree with you. More difficult protecting things like animations, mechanics, and things like that, because we've talked about it. Things get emulated and copied all the time by other developers, right? But in this situation where we're talking about numerous different moves that are obviously exactly like many different moves out of many different From Software games, that's a pretty legitimate situation for From Software to take action there, in my opinion. It would seem. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's scummy, in my opinion. It's pretty scummy. But Pinky and I also don't know. I have no idea, dude. Yeah, well, maybe the Elden Ring attacks did come from the store. I'll tell you what, it feels like their release of the PC optimization definitely came from some store. Bro, that game sucked on PC on release, dude. But that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, man. That's nuts. We'll see what happens. We'll probably come across it moving forward. Yo, this is the last article I have, guys. This is the last article I have. So if anybody has anything to add you would like to talk about before we move on to the Warframe gameplay today, let me know, man, and we'll address it. We'll talk about it before we kick off the gameplay for today, okay? So we've gotten some new benchmarks, man, from the new Ryzen X3D processors, all right? If you don't know what is up with the X3D processors, these are AMD's new line of processors that have come out that have like double to over double the amount of level 3 cache that we've ever seen on a consumer grade CPU, right? Cool new season of Fortnite. Wait, how cool the new season of Fortnite is that I mean, I didn't see any kind of is it good? Is it good, Miss Bat? I mean, talk to me. You know what I mean? Look, I played Fortnite finally. We had a community member that wanted me to take a dive in, so I took a weekend to play a little bit of Fortnite. It was exactly what I expected it to be. It doesn't appeal to me. I respect the game for what it is, but Fortnite is not my jam. We talk about Fortnite stuff in the news all the time because it comes up all the time. They have grind rails. Oh, that's cool. Right on. Nice. Yeah, they're getting ready. We just talked about was yesterday. We saw where they're bringing in Resident Evil mashup. So they're gonna have like Claire and Leon characters and different outfits and stuff. So they got Resident Evil characters coming into the Fortnite. They get all the. I mean, they were having some issues with some of the Fortnite stuff not too long ago. They get all that sorted out. Like all the like the update that hit before the end of the year and everything, there was some issues with that. They get all that sorted. I mean, last time I played it, it felt fine. Or the only time I played it, really, it felt fine. But I played it for like one weekend and I uninstalled it. It's not my jam. And I don't really care for that game. I respect the fact that so many people enjoy it, and I respect what it has done for that genre of game. But for me, it's just, it doesn't appeal. You know, random vote time. Let's go. Try to get a free sub, guys. Let's see about this. I mean, if you have anything specific you would like me to bring up, Miss Bat, in regards to the Fortnite stuff, let me know, and we can talk about it. Anything that we haven't hit on already, you know what I mean? For sure, I'll talk about it. Absolutely. Oh, look at that, dude. Gamer and Ghost, you guys are so close, dude. Look at that. Nice. Very cool. AMD's first official gaming benchmarks for the 7800. Let's check it out. AMD has finally shared its own. Oh, these are actually from AMD, though, dude. Oh, it's not that I'm not a fan. Gameplay wise, it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't really hate on that game though. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. So I mean, I've always said that I appreciate that game for what it is. So that's one of those games where I feel like there are people that are like, either people love it or there are people that are like, oh, Fortnite trash, you know, and it's like, come on, man. I mean, I don't dog anybody really for what they enjoy to play game-wise, because video games, that's what video games are really supposed to be. The only reason where I would really be like, really, you enjoyed that aspect of that game or whatever, or you enjoyed that, is whenever I have played a game that I found to be pretty brutal polish-wise or have a lot of bugs and stuff, and I feel like people have overlooked the issues in a game because of, you know, maybe what the game was called. Like, you know, if it had a big name like Final Fantasy, or if it was from a big publisher or developer that, you know, they were just big fans of, and they feel like they can do no wrong or whatever. You know, that kind of stuff bugs me. But as far as people just enjoying games because of, you know, that's what gaming's about, right? Yeah. So, you know, I'm not going to dog anybody for having fun in a game at all. You know, I don't care what it is, really. As long as it's a pretty well developed game, and you know, more power to everybody for enjoying what they want to enjoy. Nobody should be dogged for, or, you know, put down for that kind of thing, for sure. Okay, so these are official gaming benchmarks from AMD. I want more benchmarks from independent sources, but we'll see what came out of this, okay? So benchmarks from the hotly anticipated. Now, this is not their top-of-the-line X3D processor either, but their $450 Ryzen 7 7800 X3D going up against Intel's almost $600 Core i9 13900K. And it won by about an average of 20% in processing efficiency. It looks like, specifically for gaming, at a $150 less price point. New benchmarks gave a limited comparison. See, this is what I was worried about. Yeah, their top of the line that they just came out with is the 7950 X3D. They've also got the 7900 X3D. They've got the 7800 X3D. The 7800 X3D is an 8-core, 16-thread And all of these X3Ds, again, the big thing about these is how much level 3 cache memory is stacked on these things. It's pretty insane. But these are benchmarks that came out of AMD. So, I mean, a grain of salt here. They're going to show you what they want you to see, right? We need independent benchmarks. We need independent benchmarks from companies that are known to do benchmarking and aren't necessarily going to have a bias around this. Obviously, AMD is going to show you what they want you to see because this is their product. They want it to look better than Intel for sure. I do expect these to be better than Intel's because this level 3 memory cache they're slapping into these processors is supposed to be some pretty incredible stuff. But you can see right here, they're showing like a 13% at just a 1080p resolution, high quality presets. I'm guessing at a 60 frames per second, is probably what they're running here. Rainbow Six Siege is 13% better, 18% better for Total War 3 Kingdoms, 23% better for Red Dead 2, and 24% better for Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, there's a little limited selection of games. Tend to be the types of titles that benefit from gaming benefits of this specific implementation of 3D Vcache, where some games don't benefit quite as much. We've already seen a little bit of stuff where there's some games that Intel is still beating. It's rare, but there are a few titles that are still beating out the new AMD chips. Not entirely skewed here, yeah, for sure. But what it does look like is you're not going to need to potentially spring for the higher end, like the 7900 and 7950 X3D models, to get really, really good gaming performance out of your processor. And those chips are pretty expensive. I think around a $700 price point or something like that. Where are we at? Yeah, the 7950 is $700, the 7900 is $600, and the 7800 is at $450. And the 7800 right now from AMD is showing some gaming benchmarks that are really impressive and not that far off from what these are at a much lower price point. So right now, if anybody's interested in building a new PC off of an AMD processor, the 7800 X3D, if you've got this kind of budget, might be the go-to. And we'll keep track. But it doesn't look like you're going to need to spring for, one of the 12 to 16 core X3D models. You can just hit the 8 core 7800 and you'll probably be at a really nice spot. That's what it looks like, man. That's what it looks like. That's the news, baby. That's the news. You guys rock, dude. I love doing this with you. I love staying current on the industry. I love discussing the ins and outs of what's going on. And again, I've never been a developer or anything that. I've been part of IT for years and years. But as far as development of gaming and stuff like that, I've never been a part of it, but it does interest me very much, and I'm very passionate. I've always been passionate about the gaming stuff. So, being able to sit here each morning and kind of digest and dissect some of the stuff that's going on in the industry is a fantastic thing for me, and I appreciate you guys being a part of it all the time very, very much. Not just that, but being a part of what this community is and helping to create such an amazing space. I appreciate it very much. You guys rock. On that note, man, we're going to move into our gaming stuff for today, which is just going to be another day of Warframe. We're just going to play Warframe, and then tomorrow we're going to start Divinity Original Sin with our buddy Pinky. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll start our playthrough of DOS with My Name is Pinky, our buddy and mod, longtime supporter here. It should be a good time. We play games together a lot, and it'll be a good time. It's been a while since we got into, I don't think we've played a CRPG since Tyranny, man. And so it'll be cool. It'll be cool diving into another CRPG. We'll probably continue to play some Warframe here and there as we move forward because I'm enjoying it. And it's a nice chill game that it's an easy spot for anybody that wants to just hang out, play some nice gameplay together here in the community. It's free, and the game runs really well on a wide variety of hardware. You don't need to be rocking a slamming new PC rig to run this game, and it'll still run really well on older, lower to mid-range PCs and stuff. So I enjoy the game. It feels really good. It's fun, and just keeping it around is something to dive into here and there is probably what I'm going to do moving forward. Yeah, you can play it on a lot of different platforms, man, nowadays, right? I mean, it's multi-platform. There's a lot of options for people to dive in and play, and so I'll try to let everybody know moving forward. Like, we'll probably be doing weekends of it and stuff like that, and just having a good time with it, grinding out some new warframes and weapons and stuff, and just it feels good to just get in here occasionally and just throw. I mean, you get into these situations where doing defenses and stuff like that, where you just start getting mobbed by enemies, and it just feels good to have like you and a few other friendos running around just crushing enemies until you almost can't handle it anymore. It's kind of a cool experience. So sometimes it feels good just to get in there and just get a little bit wild with smashing out enemies. Get a big body count going and stuff. It's pretty fun. So if anybody's interested, I mean, it's on a lot of different platforms, cross-platform, and it's a really cool experience. And I'm just getting my kind of grips around the game again. It's been a long time. I hadn't really played it in any capacity since 2014. I took a real quick look at it in 2017, but didn't play much of it. And it was a bit daunting getting back in. There's a lot to it, but I know that already, just since I've been back in it, we've had, longtime community members of Warframe that have come in and been a big part of helping me get, my mind wrapped around all the new stuff in the game. And I know that there are cool people in the community. I've already seen that in Warframe that have been a part of it for a long time. And I know that there are people in our community that have played it for a long time too. And myself included, I have no issue trying to help people that want to dive into the game. It is a bit daunting because there's a lot that's been added to this game over the years. It's a pretty deep, pretty fleshed out game, and I'm still learning, but don't let that intimidate you. If you want to have some fun gameplay, some good times or whatever, just come hang out with us or whatever and play. It's a fun time. It's a good time, and I love playing games with the community. I love playing games with friends. So that's what we're going to do today, and we'll keep playing it moving forward, and I'll let you guys know the times or the dates, probably weekends and stuff that we're going to be playing this. Throughout the week, we'll be playing DOS moving forward for a while, but I'll let you guys know. Other than that, man, if anybody is checking out this content for video gaming news for March 12th, or any of our other video gaming news segments, or any of our other episodes of gameplays that we've done, or clips and highlights, what have you, maybe out there on our YouTube channel or here on the Twitch channel, and you're enjoying the content, then come hang out with us, man. We go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day. Start all of our streams off with video gaming news before we dive into whatever gameplay we have planned out for the rest of the day. Other than that, happy Sunday. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. And we will catch everybody tomorrow for March 13th edition of Video Gaming News and the beginning of Divinity Original Sin.